We have unfinished business.
Who's we?
There's a new world of widows. New enemies.
You should have brought the Avengers.
Oh, good punch, honey.
Florence, obviously one of the hardest parts about this an MCU gig is protecting information that you might know from annoying journalists like myself. So I'm wondering what Scarlett told you about how to get through this.
How to get through this right now?
Just us prying and trying to get all the little bits of clues and information.
I don't know. It's actually terrifying. Remember the first Comic-Con that we went to in San Diego, right? That one? Yeah. And we were on our way and I was being prepped by everybody about what we can and can't say. And I was like, okay, cool. But, you know, so simple things like, you know, I'm playing Scarlett's sister, I can say that, right? And they were like, no, you can't say that. I was like, I'm pretty sure everyone knows I'm playing her younger sister. I'm like, no. You have to stay away from that. And I said, can I say I'm assassin? No.
Just threw you in the deep end.
Just like, be an assassin.
All right, enough.
What is it I could say? So I just remember that entire weekend sweating profusely the entire time. And anyone that asked me any question, I was like, you just wait. And that was basically it.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. That's not fair.
Still fits.
I need to know what you remember about that first day you saw yourself in the costume. That's got to be a special day.
It's very special. I mean, you know, you'd seen sketches and all that stuff, and then they build it and they bring it to you, prototype occasionally for the helmet and stuff. And then they bring it to you and they present it to you and you put it on. And I mean, I tried to be cool. I try to be cool and cynical about a lot of this stuff. And then you show up and you actually put it on. And there was like, even my cold, icy heart had a big, like, bubbling joy in it. Like a little 5-year-old, like your 5-year-old with the best Halloween costume on the block.
Oh my God.
I mean, and so, yeah, I was giggling. I was so excited. And he just, you know, all this stuff you see in the movie where he comes out and he's like, still fit. And he's like, you know, I mean, that stuff was just me. It's just, there's no acting involved. It's just me thinking I look great and them all laughing at me. Because you could not convince me in my psychotic brain that I did not look phenomenal in that.
You got fat.
It's mainly water weight.
Cate Shortland mentioned that there were a lot of tears on your final day of shooting. She also said you had pneumonia. I'm curious what scene you saved for the very last day.
I feel like there's been about 7 last days for me on these films. I've had so many last days and they were all full of tears. The last thing I shot for this film was actually when Natasha and Taskmaster come together for their final fight beat. And I think what was so, and I also, yes, I fully was like on an inhaler at that point, crawling towards the finish line of the MCU. But it was actually even made much more emotional because Heidi Moneymaker, who is my longtime stunt collaborator, who's been with me on this journey for 10 years, it was also her last day as Black Widow. And so it was very fitting that she was present for that. And we just, you know, took a moment to just, you know, survey this decade of time and what we built together. And, you know, we had all the feels.
I went back to the very beginning to Natasha in the ring taking down Jon Favreau.
Never take your eye off your opponent.
Oh my God.
And I'm curious because you and Florence kind of poke fun at Natasha's fighting moves.
It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
Is there a move in particular that you kind of moved from film to film to film and kept using it because you thought like, oh, Natasha has this move, I have to keep it consistent?
Oh yeah, the crotch throat grab. You know, the crotch throat grab. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think that's what we lovingly refer to it as. Really unattractive name. Yeah, that's it. That's basically what it is. So it's really, you know, it's a kind of spinny sort of, you've seen it, obviously. I fought Winter Soldier with that. I've taken down so many guards. I do it on Favreau in that scene. Who else have I spent a long day with my legs strapped around? Taskmaster, actually, there's a moment, I don't know if we end up seeing it in the final cut, where I take him down with that move. So
Rachel Weisz actually throws Taskmaster into a cell with it. So maybe
with the crotch grab move. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. It's got a very unattractive name, but it's quite appealing to watch.
I want one.
No.
I love the running joke about Widow's action poses.
Why do you always do that thing?
Do what?
That thing you do when you're fighting. And this thing that you do when you whip your hair when you're fighting with the arm and the hair, and you do like a fighting pose.
That joke comes from the idea that in previous films, perhaps Scarlett has had to be more of an object. So even when she was fighting, there was this idea of showing, and that was what we wanted to take out of this film. So we gave that line to Florence to point the finger at the idea that sometimes some of the stuff she'd done before was perhaps for the audience, and now we wanted to say, this is much more visceral and it's going to get dirty.
Well, then go back to when you let Yelena do it then. What does it mean in that instance?
That in the first time she does it?
Towards the end when she kind of wiggles out of it.
Oh, I think it's, I want to be my big sister, even though I put shit on her. Which is a lot of us in our family relationships with our siblings.
I like your vest.
God, I knew it. I knew you did. It's so cool, right?
Family. Back together again.
You have my favorite moment in the film, man, or at least the one that made me laugh the loudest, when Yelena calls Alexei Crimson Dynamo, and you just know he can't let it go uncorrected, but the time...
Oh, I'm glad you caught that.
Dude, the way I knew in the moment, and you were waiting, and then you whispered it, and it was perfect.
Yeah, he's got to do it. He's got to do it. He knows he shouldn't, but he's got to, just to make sure.
But really, that's walking away from this movie. You know, it's wall-to-wall action, but the reason I'm still thinking about it the next day is because I bought into this idea of this family, you know, the dynamic that they shared. So I want to know, like, did you guys spend as much time working on the chemistry and those relationships as you did as choreographing the action fight sequences?
Yeah, absolutely. If not more so for us. You know, there's a lot of people that work on those action sequences for a lot longer than we do. We come in and do our pieces of them, but they're, you know, pre-visiting and, you know, stun guys working through stuff 24, I mean, it seems like 24 hours a day per month. But in terms of our work, I mean, our work really is to really put the heart into it, because that's where that comes from. And so we had pre-production where we were working on the script with the writer and with Cate, really coming up with the specifics of these relationships and this dynamic. And you know, the script was already good when we started, and then we made it richer and richer as we went. And then a lot of that comes out even on the day in terms of the particular dynamic between us. I mean, we all kind of fell in love with each other and kind of you know, forgave each other in a weird way as it goes on. I mean, there was a real like spirit of just like love, and that just bubbled up, and also just humor. I mean, we just had a really good time with each other. And that dinner table scene, I mean, there is a version of that on the editor's floor that is so ridiculous, about where I go into talking about Santa Claus, and like, I mean, I just have all these stories of our history together as a family when they were, you know, I think Yelena's like 3 to 6 or whatever, Natasha. I mean, I just had all this stuff that I would just improv, and Rachel would come right back with all this other nonsense. And it was just really, really fun. So yeah, that chemistry was, you know, we worked on the history, but the chemistry was natural. I mean, I love all 3 of those women. I think they're phenomenal, and I just like fell in love with them.
Actors have to find chemistry pretty quickly, and when the writing is great, as it was here, and the direction is great, and the actors are really talented, as they all really, actors I work with are all incredible. It just happens. And so, yeah, chemistry for Alexei, the Red Guardian, is like, he's the love of Melina's life. And she was just like flowing over with chemistry.
From the outside looking in to all of us who've been fans for years, Marvel seems like this well-oiled machine. And so I'm wondering if there is an actual difference that you see from the way that things sort of run on a Marvel set. Is there more efficiency, more collaboration?
Well, you know what? I can't speak because I need to do about 4 or 5 Marvel movies, and then I'll be able to get on an aggregate what the difference is. They've certainly got the budget to do stuff, you know. But what was great about this movie is it's such an intimate family drama that it felt a lot like, in a good way, some like sophisticated dramas when you're kind of dealing with interpersonal relationships. And Cate Shortland's amazing at doing that.
I like that you say 4 or 5 Marvel movies down the line, because I'm curious if you think Mason maybe starts to assist Yelena after his time with Natasha is finished.
I don't know how she'd manage without me.
Okay, you got a plan, or shall I just stay duck and cover?
My plan was to drive us away.
Well, your plan sucks.
Your action sequences strike me as just really different. Your camera follows your characters into battle. There are several shots of Black Widow on the scaffolding over the prison that just, they felt different to me. It looks handheld. It looks unexpectedly authentic, like that comic book level has been removed. Is that what you sought to achieve in your action sequences?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want it to, sometimes action sequences give the audience a break because it's like, oh, here we go. We know what we're getting. And what we tried to do, and I don't know if we're entirely successful, was to create something fresh. And we were really inspired by action over the last 30 years. And we looked at Korean movies, American, British, and we sort of handpicked stuff we loved, and then we created new things as well with the choreographers.
The line between the movies and the Disney shows, it's not that it's blurred, it's actually gone. You know, like you have characters that you use in certain scenes of your film that we met in TV series. And so I'm curious about the level of discourse now that's happening between the creative teams to make sure that everything stays on track. How far out are things planned so that you're not messing up everyone else's storylines?
When I was in post, I was speaking to some of the other directors who were working on other material with Disney. So I think what's beautiful about Marvel is that you do feel like you're part of that family. It's not fabricated. So we all were sort of chatting to each other at times if we needed help with what each other was doing. And Anna helped me. Anna helped me as well. And Ryan, who had come before me. And then I spoke to Chloe after. So, and Taika as well. So all the directors speak to each other. And the Russos spoke to me as well. So, yeah, I know. It was pretty great. Christopher McQuarrie, also from Mission Impossible, he spoke to me like for an hour on the phone. People were really generous.